to whoever may be watching this, may this video give you comfort, maybe give you clarity, and through comfort and clarity, an unshakable understanding of your true nature and who you are. I want to make this a little bit different because there was a time, several times, where I needed just to totally find a way to get out of my mind. It's taken many years by just observing and observing. Unfortunately, there was no quick fix for me. Some people immediately they get it. They get what we're talking about, what this is all about, what this reality is about, and who they are. They see through it all. I mean, they just, it's remarkable. They're very fortunate that for some people. For other people, it takes a long time. And for, I would say, most people, including myself, it took a lot of suffering. Because it comes to a point where it's just, like one of my favorite human beings, a gentleman by the name of Muji, says, I was out of moves. When you're out of moves, meaning all of what you objectively feel you can do to remediate, to help, to solve a problem when there's just no more solution left. I don't know if you've ever been there. I've been in that situation many times. What do? It's like the intellect will only take you so far. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think, for example, Einstein said a lot of his discoveries were done in the moment of no mind, of stillness, right? When he was not thinking. So I want to make this video as a comfort, more importantly. This is going to be very direct, because to understand the nature of who you are, to understand the truth, to understand that you're not a person, meaning you are not your body, mind, identity. You are not your body, mind, identity. You are not your body, mind, identity. It's just amazing how we fall back into that trap. And what is seen cannot be unseen. Once you realize that, once you see that, there's no turning back. And it's a beautiful thing because it's freedom. My goodness, I had no idea what freedom really was until I discovered my true nature. It blows you away. And it's here. That's the thing. It's so simple. That's the problem. It's too easy. It's too simple. It's right here. You always are present and aware, and that is your true nature. That is the ground of being. It's kind of like when a fish is born into water. Try to explain to a fish what water is. It's impossible. There's only the experience of swimming in water. But if you try to intellectually explain or to try to show what water, because a fish lives in water their entire lives. It's like us. We're living in this awareness, this field, this source, our entire lives. We're born into it. It's already here before we're born. It's already here after we're gone. Everybody's it. There's just one source. There's one reality. So the key is to be as direct as possible. So let me be direct. I want you to please try to drop everything. All of your thoughts right now. Just do it for a few seconds, and we're going to keep doing this exercise. And I want you to come back to this. Whenever you're struggling, whenever you need help, because I know I needed this. And I would turn to certain videos and YouTube videos and until I just finally found it within myself, where I didn't need to go to any more videos, where I didn't have to watch anything anymore because it was just realized, right? And that's my hope and intent for you, is that you're not going to have to watch these things anymore, that hopefully they help, obviously. And from some of the comments that I love to see, absolutely love to see that this is helping. That touches me a lot, because that's the main reason I do this. The only reason, pretty much. So drop everything for a few seconds. What do I mean by that? If you feel pressure, if you feel stress, if you feel a contraction in your body, by dropping everything, it means don't fight it, because the second you resist anything, it's always going to persist. You've probably heard that before. What you resist persists, right? So we naturally have a resistance in us because we want things to go according to the programming that we have been indoctrinated with, for lack of a better word. That programming is useful because it helps us to maneuver in this dimension, to communicate and so forth, but it's very limited, and you will only find that once you wake up to your true nature, that the programming, that the mind identity is extremely limited. It's a very, 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 very small perspective on what reality is. It's completely, if you have the ears to hear this, wonderful. If you don't, I don't blame you. It's an illusion. When I heard that the first time, it made me angry, actually. What do you mean this is an illusion? All this pain, all this suffering, it's not an illusion. It is. I'm not trying to prove anything. I don't want you to believe me. I want you to figure that out for yourself, because that's the only way you're going to find out. That's the only way you're going to find out. So let's take a minute. Drop everything. Allow whatever is happening in this moment. In other words, if you have stress, if you have pressure or whatever, just let it be there. Be here with me. Just take a pause. Start with a deep breath. And as you let go of that breath, have no intention. Don't put any stress on yourself. Just feel that state, which is the natural state, which is always here. Drop everything. Drop all your thoughts. What is left after you drop all your thoughts, after you drop all your intentions, everything? Every mental concept that you've ever had, that you have right now, just drop that all. And if you can't drop it, accept that you can't drop it. Accept that you can't drop it. Accept that you can't accept. Because the minute you do that, you know what happens? You release. Because there's a contraction. We get that contraction because our breathing stops. Sometimes it's subconscious. Our mind takes over. And our thoughts subconsciously create that contraction about things that we want to control, things that we want and don't want. But realize all those things that you think you want, you don't want. You were not born with that. You were taught that. That's part of the programming. You were not born with programming. You're the mental realm is fully programmed. And the way we see reality is through the mind. We have a veil. There is a veil, which is called conditioning, which we see everything through. So we don't really see the real nature of what reality is. And for the vast majority of people, their entire lives, they're going to see reality through the veil of conditioning. Once that conditioning is dropped, and it does drop, believe me, it does stop. It does stop. I never thought it would ever stop. I never thought my mind would just, it doesn't stop, but it's just, since once you recognize the person is not there anymore, there's nothing for the mind to do with that person. I need to do this, I need to do that, I don't want this, I don't want that. It's done. I don't have any more of these thoughts, and it's wonderful. It's very freeing, because then you're just left with just reality, with what is, what's real and raw, just this present moment, which is, again, it's not a moment, and it's not present. It's not, once you think about it, you're not in it anymore. It's just a flow. Things are just moving naturally. Like an animal, when they're not saying we're animals, but when they just do. They don't have to think, oh, now I have to go there, I have to go there. Think about an elite athlete, like a top tennis player in Wimbledon. When they're hitting the ball, do they have to think, okay, now I have to move my arm and I have to do this and no, it just flows, boom, boom, boom. It's just natural. And that flow state, you are born with that. You are born in the flow. And we get out of the flow because we start believing in the programming, the conditioning in our mind, and we start to create an identity from that mind movement. And then we elaborate it by creating stories. And this is stories which create so much suffering besides other things. So again, take a moment, just stop. Be with me here right now. And just observe with detachment. Whatever is arising, let it arise. Why? Because whatever arises will also pass. Everything that is phenomenal, everything that objectively can be recognized, or even not, it's just passing. Everything is passing. Have you noticed that? Everything comes and goes. All of your emotions. Have you ever had one emotion that's lasted your entire life? No, of course not. You've been happy, you've been sad. It changes. It's always changing. But there's only that one thing, that one aspect, which is the reality, which is the presence, which is your awareness, that does not change. You were aware exactly the same way you are now as you were yesterday. Your thoughts might have been different, your emotions were different, but there was just awareness. And the thing yesterday is also just a thought. It doesn't really exist. You're only accessing that through thinking, through concepts. Reality is not a concept. You can't think reality. You can't think about reality. It just is. You just are. Effortless. Right now. Right now, at this moment, you are effortlessly present. If you're listening to these words and you're understanding what I'm saying, you are effortlessly present. Do you need to put any effort to be present? In the beginning, it might seem that way just because we're so highly distracted by the machine of the mind conditioning. But once that subsides slightly, and that's what I'm trying to do here, is just to help you subside that mind movement. This is your place of peace. This is your abode, your home. And it feels like a home, you know? When you are in this, fully embraced in the now, in this presence of what you are, even though thoughts may arise, eventually you disidentify with them. And you realize that you are not your thoughts. In fact, you're something far greater than that. That's where your identity starts to mature into. Because once that matrix of conditioning lets loose, what's inside? It's nothing and everything. It's pure presence. It's the field which allows everything to arise in. I wanted to... Again, I go off in tangents, my apologies. I just get very inspired by some of these things because they've helped me so much. I know people are at different levels of understanding this. I know for some of you this makes no sense whatsoever. So this is my attempt. For those of you that this makes no sense, but you're feeling, okay, there's something here. There's something that he's saying that resonates with me at a much deeper level. That's a great sign. That's a very good sign. So, I have heard, and I think these are great analogies of reality. Two analogies I want to give you. If you look at the ocean, imagine everything is just water. Everything, the entire environment, everything you've ever seen, everything you've ever done, the entire source is just water, right? Now, let's try to visualize the Pacific Ocean, for example, the biggest body of water on this planet. Every wave arises and goes back down. What does it arise from? Where does the wave arise from? It arises from water. But every wave, once it's on the surface, once it is superficial, it is distinct from the wave next to it, right? There are not two waves that are exactly the same, are there? On the surface, superficially, they're different. But what are they made of? All of the waves are made of the same thing. They come from water, they go back into the water. So even though one wave from the surface may look different, it's made up of the same thing. I, you, whoever's watching, we look different, but we are the same thing. That water is awareness. I'll give you another example, which I love. This one, if you get it, it's very powerful. Imagine this is a 3-dimensional movie. And this is a character. You are the director, you are the actors, you are the set, you are everything in this movie, but it's your movie. So there's a screen. It's a 3-dimensional screen all around you. Everything you've ever seen your whole life has been this movie, and you've been this character. You're the protagonist. You're the narrator of a movie, but it's a movie, okay? As you look at the screen, this 3-dimensional screen, right? Let's say you're watching a movie. There's a house that burns down in the movie. On that screen. Is the screen going to burn down? Is the screen affected by the movie? No, of course not. You are not only the screen, you're beyond the screen. So that screen, let's say, for lack of a better word, is your present state reality. It's always here. It's always there. There's just different movies that are playing on the same screen, right? Some might be a horror movie. Some might be a love story. We've all had these movies. We've all been characters in these movies, but you're not a movie. You are not what is happening. You are observing what is happening. You are the screen on which it is playing. And whatever's playing on the screen cannot be you. Why? Because you're observing. You cannot be what you observe. So let's just end this video again by just a moment of just being quiet. Just try to let go. Again, whenever you remember this during the day, keep trying this. Keep trying just to let go. Meaning, try to desensitize yourself slightly. This is what I would do. If my mind was just too much and I was having just too much stress, immediately we revert back to thinking about it. Why am I so stressed? Just stop that. That doesn't help. Believe me, it doesn't help. Go to somewhere that's quiet. I personally used to find a bathroom, or I would find a locker, or I would find a room, and I would just close the door, and just for 5 minutes, I would just be quiet. And I would just let whatever's happening is happening. And I would start to see things change. But I realized I was not changing. I was just watching all of these things happening, these emotions, these thoughts. Oh, why did he do this? Or I should do this. Or I have to, oh, I have to buy this tomorrow. That's it. I mean, stop. Just don't give it too much attention. And the more you do that, it's a habit. It's a habit. It's a discipline. Yes. The more you are disciplined, the more you make the habit of just dropping everything and just observing who you are. And whatever arises, remember, will pass. So whenever you are really in a state of too much stress and you can't handle whatever is going on, my absolute biggest recommendation, this is the thing that's helped me so much, is just stop, go to somewhere quiet, let whatever your mind is doing, if your mind is screaming, let it scream. If it's saying nasty things, let it say nasty things, because the second you identify with it, you're back in that trance. You're back in the state of hypnosis. You're observing it, but don't attach to whatever is going on. Don't attach to the movie. You know when you're in a movie theater and the movie starts to become really suspenseful, but nothing's happening to you, but you are identifying with whatever's playing on the screen of that movie. This is a movie. I know it's hard to hear that, but it is. It's a three-dimensional movie. You are a character being played in a movie. You're actually free. You're not the character. You're free from everything. You are everything and nothing at the same time. And that's why you're able to observe everything. I really hope this helps. Thank you.